Welcome at Pizza and More. This time we make again a pizza from somewhere around the world, and I'm pretty sure lots of you already know this kind of pizza. This pizza is totally different than an Italian pizza or a Neapolitan pizza, but lots of people like this pizza and of course it's very common. Yeah, I'm Jürgen and we make this time together a pizza Chicago style, so a Chicago deep dish pizza. This pizza is not really old, so not that old like a normal Neapolitan or Italian pizza. This kind of pizza was founded or was invented in 1943. The main differences to an Italian pizza are several. One of them is we bake this pizza in such a form. If you don't have such a form, it doesn't matter. You also could use such a form which we are normally use for cakes. This will also work properly. Then you might can already think as we bake the pizza in this form. The pizza is far higher than a normal Italian pizza and it has far more ingredients and far more toppings. This kind of pizza is also available not only with a dough at the base, this is also available with a dough directly at the top. We bake this pizza for around 30 minutes at around 250 degrees Celsius. And the dough will be rolled out with a roller pin, or it's also possible to press the dough directly into this form. There are two ingredients within the dough which is very typical for a Chicago style pizza. The first one is cornmeal. Some people are changing the cornmeal and are using semolina or using potatoes in the dough. The cornmeal is also used for rolling out then the dough. And the second, what we add to the dough is lard and butter. Or of course, if you don't like lard, then you can use only butter. The typical flour for such a Chicago style pizza is a flour Typo 0 with a protein value of 12%. If you like, you also could use all-purpose flour. The leavening time of our dough will be 24 hours. It's also possible to let the dough raise 48 hours if you want to make it far quicker. So with a shorter leavening time, then the amount of yeast needs to be increased. Typical for a Chicago style pizza is as well, we are making no pre-dough, so no biga, no Polish. We make a normal direct dough. Regarding the toppings, you could add whatever you want, whatever you like. So very common are vegetables, of course, cheese, corn, meat, sausages. The toppings we will add are mozzarella cheese, then minced meat, some corn, and some tomato sauce, of course. We will make later the tomato sauce together. And of course then at the end, directly on top, some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. And now I will show you what we need for our dough. The ingredients for our dough, by the way, it's not required that you write everything down, because as in each other video as well, all the whole recipe and the whole procedure is in the video description. We start here with the flour. I have here 450 grams of flour. This is Typo 0. This has a protein value of 12.5. Then I have here 50 grams of cornmeal. I have 290 grams of very cold water. I have here 20 grams lard. And I have 20 grams butter. And as I already said, if you don't like to use lard, you can use then instead butter. I have here then 10 grams of fine sea salt and 4.5 4.5 grams of fresh yeast. You could also use dry yeast, then of course 1.5 grams. At first we add the water into the bowl. As next we add the flour and then the corn meal, and then we add the yeast, and then we add the butter and the lard. And now we knead everything for around 5 minutes at a very low speed. And after a kneading time of 5 minutes, we add the salt, and then we continue kneading for around 15 minutes until we are able to make the window test. I kneaded this dough now for in total 20 minutes, and the last 15 minutes after I added the salt, I increased the speed to the medium position. I think the dough is now ready. The dough sticks a bit more than a normal dough, let's say it like this. Even we have only a hydration of 58% regarding the water, but we have lots of fat in the dough, which means it also sticks a bit more, but it is okay as you see. For making the window test, I take a piece of dough and then I stretch it. And as you already can see, I'm able to stretch this piece of dough properly, which means the window test works, the dough is ready, and I take the dough out onto my counter. When we have the dough on our counter, we make now several times the so-called stretch and fold to shape a nice dough ball. Therefore, we take the dough from the left and from the right, we lift it up, put it back onto the counter, stretch it here and fold it over. And we make this exercise now several times until we see here the surface is stretched nicely. And then we turn the dough ball several times and we pull the dough ball. And I also would recommend to do this exercise after half of the leavening time, because this brings then new oxygen to the yeast and to the microorganisms, and this supports a bit the leavening or the fermentation of the dough. When we have shaped here now a nice dough ball, then we take a container, we place our dough ball in the container, and of course we close the lid. We let the dough in the container rest now at room temperature for around 2 hours, and after these 2 hours we place or we put the box with the dough into the fridge, where it will remain for around 20 to 44 hours. 2 hours before we bake our pizza, we take the box with the dough out of the fridge. My dough was now 20 hours in the fridge, and 2 hours ago I took the dough out of the fridge, and during the leavening, so after 12 hours roundabout, I did once stretch and fold. All the toppings are already prepared. Most of the toppings are prepared, and the oven is preheating to 250 degrees Celsius, both-sided heat. And at the bottom I have a pizza stone. So if you have a pizza steel or a pizza stone, then please preheat the stone or steel as well, because even if we bake in a form, we bake on this stone. If you don't have a pizza stone or a pizza steel, it doesn't matter, then you bake it without it. And now it's time to prepare the dough. For stretching the dough or for rolling it out, we need some corn flour. And then we looked at from the corn meal, everything is everywhere. And then we can either use a roller pin or you simply can press with the hands the dough a little bit flat. And if the dough has roughly the size of our form, then we put it to side and then we remove here the corn flour. Or I mean the corn meal. And now we add some olive oil into the form and then we cover everything inside with olive oil. Also the side. And then we can put the dough into the form. And then we press the dough into the form so that the dough goes up the sides. And now we let rest the dough again for half an hour, but of course I cover the dough. And in the meanwhile we can prepare our tomato sauce. Yeah, for the tomato sauce we need here 1 can, so 400 grams of tomatoes. Then I have here a medium size onion. I cubed this onion already. The same 1 piece of garlic. I have oregano, some black pepper, salt and olive oil. For the tomato sauce we add the onions and the garlic to the tomato sauce. And then we add round about 1 teaspoon of oregano, a bit fresh grated black pepper, a bit salt, and at the end some olive oil. Then we mix everything up. I know some people are frying or cooking the tomato sauce. There are some recipes available where you have to cook the tomato sauce. There are recipes available where you don't cook the tomato sauce. I think we don't cook it because the tomato sauce will be cooked in the oven, as we have a total baking time of round about 30 minutes. And I think this is enough. And now after half an hour we can start with topping the pizza. I have here slices of mozzarella. I choose this kind of mozzarella because this one is very dry. There is absolutely no liquid in it, and I simply want to avoid that we have afterwards a soggy pizza. As next I add the minced meat, and you can see I make lots of small pieces. If the minced meat is a bit distributed, it's time to add some black pepper and some salt. And if you like, some oregano. And now we add the corn. As next we add some salami. Then it's time for the tomato sauce. And at the end, some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. And now we add the pizza into the oven for around about 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes in the oven, it's done and we can take it out. And here comes our pizza Chicago style out of the oven. And then I would strongly recommend to let the pizza cool down for around 10 minutes, because then the cheese gets a bit harder, all the liquids are getting also harder, and then it's far easier to cut pieces from the pizza. Yeah, I already moved the pizza from the form onto a plate, and now I add some fresh basil. And now we will cut a piece of this nice pizza out. And I won't taste this pizza out of the hand. Yes, maybe it works. Yes, of course, this kind of pizza tastes totally different than a normal Italian pizza. But however, the ingredients are almost the same, but it tastes different, but very delicious. If you are interested in videos and recipes from pizzas somewhere around the world, then please write your suggestions into the video, into the comments, and then I will make a video. If you like my video, it would be fantastic if you would subscribe my channel, and then we see us also in the next video. Ciao!